Welcome to The Ripple, where extraordinary women executives get real about their career journeys. This season, thanks to our partnership with GNW Consulting, you'll hear even more stories from women leaders about how they're building visibility for themselves, their careers, and their companies. I'm your host, Ashley Lobbs, and today we're joined by the open-hearted Kaivona Parker, speaker and head of sales enablement at the Kaivona Parker Agency. And she's here to go deep this episode. We're digging into what the next chapter of visibility looks like for her and why growth is so uncomfortable. Kaivona, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Thank you for having me. I am very excited to be here.
When I work with women leaders, I hear a lot about the discomfort of seeing people do what you want to be doing, right? So sometimes they will see people who are aligned with them, who share their message and their mission and all these other things, but they are so uncomfortable, like they just want to turn away from it because they feel this guilt that they're not doing it and they're judging themselves for not doing it. What would you say to women in that situation?
Can relate. I surround myself with women that are I have like 3 stages or tiers, you would say. Folks that are where I'm at and we're growing together, folks that are doing what I want to be doing, and then my 10% give back, which is like folks I can help bring up or along. And there is a person in my community that we are journeying alongside each other. She's building the same way that I'm building. And she is doing the things that I want to be doing that I'm making excuses for. And that is a me problem, not a her problem. So quite frankly, I told her, sometimes seeing her content immobilizes me because I say, oh, she's doing it. It looks so good. Like, yeah. Mind you, she's scared on the other end of it. She doesn't think it looks good. She's just doing it because she gives herself like a timed thing where she's like, I'm not going to review my content. I'm just going to post it. I don't care how I look. I don't care what I'm wearing. If I feel it, I'm going to record it. I'm going to put it out there. And I feel you on that, but I haven't gotten to the point of execution yet. I have tons of videos in my camera phone that I have not just hit post on. And at one point, I was immobilized. I was just in like a daze watching her stuff and said, okay, girl, you do it. I'll just support you. I'll repost yours, right? It is internal work. Really, it's internal work. You have to look at yourself and say the thing out loud and ask yourself, what is causing me not to move? Expectation setting? Is it? I don't really believe in imposter syndrome. I do believe that we are telling ourselves a narrative of who we are, who we think we are, and what stages. So love starts with how we communicate with ourselves. So how are you loving yourself? And it is that deep.
Yeah,
Let's make things simple. Like, oh my gosh, girl, you just got no. It is layers. Yeah, there are layers. The reason why we aren't able to move and show up in the ways that we want. And you really have to uncover that. For me, it's my journaling. I love journaling. I actually downloaded an app that uses multiple forms of technology so I can speak into it. It can record my voice. It can transcribe my voice into words. I can do videos. So even in the moment where I can't put pen to paper, at least I can document how I sounded in that moment. And when I hear it back, I'm like, ooh, great. You ain't sound right, girl.
I love what you were saying about, your awareness that watching your friends' content immobilized you. That's a really interesting way of putting it. Like it actually stopped you from taking action. And it sounds like maybe you are comparing something you haven't even put out there yet to what she has put out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, because you have this awareness of what's going on, like what's stopping you?
What's stopping me? The phrase that they say, your success is on the other side of looking a mess. Like your success is on the other side of just daring to do the thing regardless of how you look. Or
yeah.
I forget
your success is on the other side of your comfort zone.
Is that comfort zone? Because this is it's the appearance of. So not what I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. So it's not my comfort zone or not. It is on the other side of looking crazy, on the other side of appearances, essentially.
Right.
And I'm such a perfectionist, and the building in public and the not knowing what the outcome is, but expressing the process.
Yeah.
And then it then forces you to be accountable, because now you're letting people know what you're on the road to. So eventually they're going to want to see where it ends. So how long does that take? Am I going to be doing videos for this project for 5 years? What is the instant? Like, how long will I be doing
When
this,
you never
right?
know, right? You
Ne-
never know, but it's much longer if you never get started.
Exactly, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the train becomes more expensive the longer you stay on it, knowing you need to get off on you're at the wrong stop, the more
Mm-hmm.
expensive it is to get back. It's that. So because of this perfectionist, because of this unknowing of how long it's gonna take, I'm like, at what point do I want to start sharing? Do I want to start sharing when I feel like I'm close? Do I want to start sharing when I have no idea? What if I change my mind?
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it, right? That's the joy in it, is that people get to witness when you had no phone stand and you were putting it on top of books, to when you get your own studio, when your basement is finished. We can make excuses all day for
Yeah.
everything not to do.
Yeah. Well, there's two things that I'm really hearing here that I think are interesting. And the first one is that, like the question of like, do I let people see me in process, before I've got the professional studio? And the thing is that you're always going to be in process. Even if you start with the professional studio, you can wait to get all the expensive equipment, but it's still going to be your first video,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so there's this way that you're still going to look back on it and cringe a little bit and be uncomfortable with where you started, because you were just starting. And it doesn't matter how much you try to mitigate that it's the beginning, it's still just the beginning.
Absolutely. And then the thing is too, is some of the greatest joys in the creators that I follow are have had the same conversation with themselves at one point, right?
Yeah.
So like there's a YouTube creator, and I'm not gonna say the name of it, but if you go back 7 years, it's on a college couch, like, kids walking across the camera and they don't edit it out.
Yeah.
5 YouTube awards later, world tours later, and that's what, 6, 7 years ago. They made a decision. They showed up. They were consistent. And you can literally, if you scroll back, you can see the history of how the evolution happened.
Yeah.
And it's the most beautiful thing to see. So I'm telling myself that, and I've given myself some metrics, and I started to hold myself accountable with some peers. So you're gonna see content. And then you know what it is too? We are so caught up in the brand that we started with, as if that is supposed to be our forever person. And when we evolve, and when we start to explore new ideas, new concepts, we try to make it fit into the initial brand, instead of saying there are multiple sides. I'm a mom.
Yeah. You're a lot more than a
A
brand.
lot more than what I initially might have thought I was, or put out that I was.
Yeah.
And it doesn't all have to make sense. It doesn't all have to align, but it is part of my journey. Whether it's talking about food, whether it's talking about fitness, whether it's talking about me being a 15 years in sales, and done it detached. It's the same thing. Probably did a workout before I came to your coaching session. I probably juiced some cucumbers and ginger right before this. It's all connected. And even if it isn't, it doesn't matter. It's still part of who you are.
We're human all the time. And, the other thing that I was taking away from your thoughts about, getting started was just, worrying about looking crazy, right? And I relate to that so much. My version of that, most of the ways that I put myself out there is as a writer, and that's changing as I host a podcast and start to do more video content. But I know that as a writer, part of what I always thought made me great was that I could anticipate what everybody would say. So you start writing that first draft, and in the middle of it, I can hear, like, if I know my clients well, if I know my creative director well, if I know like whoever my audience well, I can anticipate their criticism. And that's the only thing I'm anticipating. I'm not anticipating any of their compliments.
Yeah.
I'm not anticipating anybody saying how great this is. I'm able to anticipate their criticisms. And so they haven't actually made those criticisms. They're not real, right? But I can anticipate the problems that these people are going to have with it. And so then I'm editing based on this imagined criticism. And I think that part of the value that I provide is that I don't show anybody anything that they could criticize, right? And the result, kind of unfortunately for me, is that when I turn stuff into my clients, most of the time, like, there aren't a lot of changes to be made because I've done it pretty well. I've been at this game a long time, but it reinforces that idea. And I think it can also get in the way because when you're doing something new and you're internalizing this imagined criticism, it just keeps you from getting started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's, yeah. And
Do you feel like that when you think about looking crazy, like worrying how people are going to perceive you? Do you feel like you're anticipating their criticisms instead of their compliments?
I'm a learner and I love to learn and I love to ask questions. At the same time, if I'm going to talk about something, I'm anticipating the same questions that I know I would give. I may not know the answer, especially if I am sharing in process. So just to be transparent, what I am branching into is our health and our like holistic self, because I've gone through 3 layoffs in the past 4 years.
So tough.
Yeah, while being an entrepreneur and building my business. And for whatever reason, it's like because you're an entrepreneur, you are just absolved of any sort of like hurt when it comes to the corporate side of things. And my third one happened on Mother's Day weekend or right before Mother's Day. And I thought in the moment, okay, you've been here before. We're going to get through it just like we've gone through the last two. Shake it off, move on. And my body said something completely different, honey. Like, my mind told me that, and that's what I thought I was moving with until my body said, you thought you okay, baby, but you not okay now somewhere. It made me sit and think about the masks that we put on and the safety that we're creating for ourselves, what we really need from corporate spaces that's beyond just the work.
Yeah.
So what I'm sharing is deeply personal. It's talking about how, I almost had a heart attack. It's talking about how I went to the emergency room. It's talking about how anxiety shows up in our gut health and worms and like all of these things. And I don't know the answers. I am recording myself trying things and I know there's beauty that can come from it. One, someone might be asking the same question, so maybe I can get an answer due to my connections that someone else could and all these things. So it's not really anticipating judgment or anything. It's more so, it's just so much of an unknown.
Yeah.
This is a journey that's so personal to me. And I'm inviting questions I don't have the answers to. I'm inviting criticism that is beyond my work, but to my person. I am showing images of myself in ways that I have never. And then at the same time, I am a firm believer that who something is not for, it's not for, and who it is for, it will be for. So those are the contradictions that it's like, come on, just do the thing. Just do the thing.
Yeah. Well, you're being vulnerable at such a large scale, right?
Yeah.
When we talk about being vulnerable on social media, it's not the same as being vulnerable in a one-on-one conversation or like in a group of people who and I think it totally makes sense to me that there's a part of you that would react to putting yourself out there in a more vulnerable and a less comfortable way, like less seated in your expertise, outside your comfort zone. I could see why, like, there's a part of you psychologically or even physically that would feel the same reaction as like getting laid off, right? This desire to protect yourself. I think that's so common. So many people feel that. But you're active on LinkedIn. You've been doing podcasts. You run your own business. You're up in front of people all the time. And I think just even being in sales in general, you're in those conversations constantly. I think that for a lot of people, having to sell something is like public speaking. It's just like their nightmare. And so I wonder, like, how do you get through those situations? Like, how do you put yourself out there in those situations with confidence? And why does that feel different than pursuing visibility in this way? Hey, listeners. We've heard from a lot of women this season who are growing and scaling businesses. So we know it's not easy. If you've got a team that's growing fast or merging with another, that can feel really exciting. But then you're staring down two MarTech stacks that don't play nicely together. This is where GNW Consulting comes in. They help marketing teams sort through the mess, mapping out what to keep, what to streamline, and how to make it all actually work together. Think of them as your behind-the-scenes problem solvers, bringing strategy and then rolling up their sleeves for the execution. Plus, they're a supporter of Wednesday Women and our mission to amplify women execs. So if you're in the middle of a messy merger or it's on the horizon, head to gnwconsulting.com to learn more and see how they're helping marketing leaders move faster and smarter.
I love everything about sales. I love everything about building, everything about community. And it'll be easier for me to do these videos live on stage than it would be for me to put out the video. Which is why when I put out my podcast, I want to do it live. I don't want to edit. I don't want anything. I want it to be, I said what I said. You catch the episode, you rewatch it, that's it. I don't want to edit anything. It's just live video. Walking around the house and, recording a yogurt that I found is like a probiotic, and then the angles are all those things. It's so premeditated.
Yeah.
Like, is this natural? Is this normal? And then you're looking at what other people are doing. So it's less the psychology of it, because even rewatching the videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've made myself cry watching myself share the things, and it's healing for me. Going on stage and having a raw live, if we had this session in front of 1 million people, I wouldn't bat an eye. Amazing, wonderful.
Yeah.
It's the pre-recorded, clipping it up, trying to figure out what was the right thing, and then what did I miss that's gonna live here forever?
Yeah.
Just me. That's the part that's very different.
Yeah.
You and I having a conversation on stage.
I totally get that. I want to know, because you've been at this for a while, and maybe the videos, like this particular style of video is new for you, but you've been putting yourself out there for a long time. What is the reality of your experience when you do it? Like, what is the response that you generally get from people?
Everything is cool typically, but this will be my first time doing personal videos. A lot of what I do is tied to the professional world, is tied to, entrepreneurship, sales, enablement, business, which is personal, but I keep it on the professional side.
Yeah.
And this will be the first time that I'm doing something personal. And if I'm really being real about it, I don't believe I'm going to get any bad comments or I don't really, I'll probably just laugh and delete it anyway. I don't know. The unknown is really what is, but what do you say? Like, what if, like, we're on the other side of a what if it does work, right? You're so concerned about what if it doesn't, but what if,
well,
I know it's going to be helpful for folks too, because these are conversations that I have in private that affirm, wow, Kaivona, there are so many people suffering in silence that when you do put it out, it's going to free folks to actually start having more conversations. Excited. I know it's going to be great. Their reception's going to be great.
I think that when we open ourselves up on to say the human side seems so silly, but just on the personal side, when we bring that in and find ways to infuse that with the professional world, or even just let people know who we are, give them context. We're not just like a Wikipedia page for whatever we're an expert at. Like, we're a person, and that personhood gives like the ultimate unique context to whatever we're trying to share with people. And I always find that that's the most powerful content. That's the stuff that people respond to the most, and because they can relate to it, and they want to connect, right? They could connect to it more emotionally. So I have a really great feeling that that's going to go well for you. And I'm excited to start seeing it in my feed.
Even I do speak at a lot of conferences and sales kickoffs, and you'll find that organizers of these conferences necessarily hiring the professional photographer. They are doing creator kits, and they're creating spaces for you to be there to go live on your phone, walk around and post those stories and share your stories to stories, because it's that real life perspective, not
Yeah.
the clean, not the polish, not the edited. It's just, this is how close I was to the stage, or this is, if their makeup was not retouched, or and yeah, that's the push. We're looking for real human experiences, things that we can feel, not just relate to or understand,
Yeah.
but have a feeling attached to it.
Yeah, there's all these videos going around on social media right now that are actually they're posting old video content from like the late 90s, early 2000s of people's like homecoming dances and graduation parties and things like this, and just like the world before the smartphone and what it was like when someone had a camcorder back then was just so different. It was like very lived experience, unself-conscious, it's like pre-reality TV. So it was just like kind of a different world. And I think there's part of us that wants to come back to that. And that's what's happening in all of this video content. And so I think, you're right in line with what people are craving, which is a personal connection and something that feels attainable, that feels comfortable, feels like they're sitting in the living room with you.
Yeah, most of it is done right here. This is my orange cozy chair.
Yeah. Well, I want to end our time with one question, and it's for all the women out there who are also in the process of building their visibility, and they're trying to figure out how to give themselves permission, right? Because I think a lot of us worry and we start imagining those criticisms and get in our own way. What would you say to them about how to do it anyway?
I can only tell them what I'm telling myself in the moment, which is get comfortable seeing yourself with yourself first. I wouldn't say first. You can do it at the simultaneously, right? I'm doing it simultaneously, which is I'm recording myself doing smaller tasks like, pouring a glass of orange juice, or just typing an email out and looking at that back, so that I can look at myself and tell myself all the things I think people are going to say that they're not going to say by just giving yourself the worst story anyway. And then putting it out there, putting the unedited 5-second video out there. And what most people won't know unless they watch this video is I tried that for the first time in Texas. It was before I was hosting a sales kickoff. And I was like, I have something to say. We know like any of the things. And I was sitting at the pool, and I took my phone out and I tried to find a good light. And I was like, all right, y'all, it's conference season and y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Stop saying your titles. Just talk about who you are. And that one video landed me a $9,000 speaking engagement. That video was like 15 seconds long. Pool. Random thought. I didn't think about it, didn't edit it. Week later, I did another video, and it was like a 10-second video, and I was at a conference, and I said, take a break. Take a break. You're at these conferences, you're going to be burnt out. Take a break. That video landed me like every time that I have not put so much focus on the quality of the content, but I trusted what I had to say and the value in what I was saying, it has gotten me somewhere. But that was a 5-second video. That was a 15-second video. It wasn't a 30-minute run. So find something that you feel really confident in. Say it. Don't look back at it. Post it. If you're posting something that you're confident in, it'll give you room to post something that you're not confident in. Saying that out loud for the first time actually makes me feel really good because I am now acknowledging that this is not a first time. This is just a growth in a new area. I've done this before in what got me my corporate situations. And I'm now growing and maturing to saying, okay, I did this in a place that I felt safe, which is corporate or business sales. And now I'm doing it in a place that's like more vulnerable, but it's the only reason why I am even pushing the boundaries of my capacity here or increasing my capacity here is because I have done it in another space. So it's just, I don't know, it just got me excited. So thank you for allowing me to say that out loud.
Yeah, no, as soon as you said that there was something you were struggling to do for your visibility, I was like, oh, this is going to be a great conversation because you've already put yourself out there so much more than a lot of people have, right? Like you've done a lot of work to cultivate a community and an audience and a business and all of these things. And it's what so many of our listeners are trying to build for themselves. And so talking to you about what the next, inch forward looks like, I think is a really exciting moment to be crossing your path. And so I really want to thank you for being super transparent and vulnerable and honest and processing out loud, because I think a lot of our listeners are going to relate to that. I know I do. And I'm in a very similar place right now where I'm always so busy doing for others that I'm not doing for myself. And then when I have the time to do it for myself, I'm being way too much of a perfectionist about it, because it's like, well, I have to be the example, so I have to do it. I have to do it right, and I have to do it perfect. We're all thinking the same things, and you just said it out loud. So I want to thank you for being that role model for all of us. And I hope that we're going to be putting your LinkedIn in the show notes. We're all going to start following you. And I hope that we're going to get to start seeing some video content from you very soon.
Yes, you're going to see all the content. All the things. Be prepared.
Be prepared for some rampant positivity in your feed. If you want it, you know where to find it.
Some tears lately. So, there's some tears too.
You can't have rampant positivity without occasional catharsis. They go together.
They do.
You have a good cry and then you're just, then you're sunny again.
Absolutely. Yes. The sun comes out after the rain. So does some rainbows. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that just from getting to experience, the more like reflective, emotional side from you here, like I'm all for that. And I think a lot of people will be, because it's real. There's one thing that keeps sticking with me in this episode, and it's kind of an energy that I want to embody. And I think everybody listening should embody, which is I said what I said.
Yeah, right?
You said that earlier in this episode about like the energy that you have when you record live and you're not going to edit it. You're not going to do another take of it. I said what I said, and I'm like, yeah, that's what we need. That's exactly what we need. Thank you so much for being here with us. I think this was a really special episode, and I can't wait to put it out.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for creating a space where I can just kind of like share where I'm at in the moment. So I appreciate that.
Now that we're at the end of today's episode, take a moment to reflect on how Kaivona's story might inspire your own. What would it look like if you could anticipate the best case scenario instead of the worst case scenario? And what would help you overcome or mitigate the discomfort of trying something new?
If today's show inspired you to think of an extraordinary woman leader in your life, let her know about the Wednesday Women Executive Membership. It's a safe space for women leaders to tackle any challenge, ask questions, and uplift others. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Your ratings help us grow and inspire even more people. Thank you to our Season 2 sponsor, GNW Consulting, to our executive producers, Melissa Moody and Leslie Greenwood, and to our technical producer, Yelena Georgievich, with Kind Media Productions. I'm your host, Ashley Lobbs, hoping this small ripple creates a big wave in your life. Until next time.